It began with a nagging instinct, the kind that creeps in silently, uninvited. A subtle change in Sarah's tone, a warmth in her voice when she mentioned grabbing lunch with a friend, stood out. After 10 years of marriage, I, Mark, thought I knew every nuance of her, every laugh, every sigh. Our life together was built on shared breakfasts, late-night talks, and a bond one believed was unbreakable. Sure, we had our spats, but they were just the usual friction of time. Or so I thought. That illusion shattered one evening when her phone, left on the kitchen counter, lit up with a message, "Still thinking about this afternoon." The sender? A number I didn't know. When I asked, Sarah waved it off with a quick smile, saying it was just a work friend. But her eyes flickered with something unfamiliar. That night, lying beside her, I stared at the ceiling, my gut screaming that something was off. Weeks passed, and her lunch dates grew frequent, her excuses flimsier. Shame isn't something I'm proud of, but I couldn't ignore it any longer. One evening, while she showered, I unlocked her phone. The messages weren't just flirty. They were raw, intimate, detailing moments with someone named David, a coworker. They weren't just meeting for coffee. They were sharing secrets, dreams, the kind of closeness Sarah and I once had. The betrayal hit like a punch, leaving me nauseous, furious, and humiliated. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I planned. I dug into David's life online and found his wife, Emily, a kind-looking woman with a young daughter. My heart ached for her, but I pressed forward. I hired a private investigator, a no-nonsense woman named Rita, who delivered proof within days, photos of Sarah and David at a cafe, the hands touching, images of them slipping into a hotel, laughing. The final blow was a shot of them kissing in Sarah's car, undeniable evidence. I reached out to Emily, my message blunt. "Hi, Emily. I'm sorry to tell you this, but I believe David is having an affair with my wife, Sarah. I've attached proof." Her reply was brief, a quiet "thank you for letting me know." The wheels were in motion, and I wasn't sure where they'd stop. I wanted Sarah to face the consequences, to feel the wreckage she'd caused. So, I suggested a date night, just us, at our favorite restaurant. She seemed relieved, maybe thinking I was clueless. The table was set perfectly, candles, wine, and a folder of Rita's photos tucked beside my plate. When Sarah arrived, her smile faltered as she saw the folder. "What's this?" she asked, her voice unsteady. "Open it," I said, my tone even. She hesitated, then flipped through the images, her face paling with each one. "I can explain," she whispered, but the words sounded hollow. "Explain." I leaned forward, my voice sharp. "Explain how you've been lying for months. How you've been sneaking around with a married man, tearing apart our marriage." Tears streamed down her face, but her apologies felt empty. Then I played my final card. "I've spoken to Emily," I said. Sarah's eyes widened in panic. "You didn't." Before she could say more, the restaurant door opened. Emily walked in, her face composed but her eyes burning. Behind her was David, looking like a man who'd just walked into a trap. Sarah froze. "What is this?" she stammered. "This," I said, "is the truth." The confrontation was brutal. Emily tore into David, her voice steady but laced with pain, recounting every sacrifice she'd made for him. Sarah tried to speak, but Emily cut her off. "You don't get to talk," she snapped. "You're a liar, and you've destroyed 2 families." David mumbled excuses, claiming he felt neglected, but I shut him down. "Neglected? You have a wife who'd do anything for you, and this is how you repay her." By the end, Sarah and David were shadows of themselves, their guilt laid bare. Emily and I shared a glance, a quiet understanding that would both survive this fire. Sarah moved out that night. I filed for divorce the next day, and Emily followed suit. David's career tanked when Emily sent their boss the evidence. Sarah's social circle shrank as whispers of the affair spread. The months after were brutal. I cried, questioned myself, wondered if I could have done something differently. But therapy helped. I started hiking, reconnected with friends, and slowly rebuilt my life. A year later, I'm stronger, more grounded. I've learned to demand honesty, to value myself. Sarah and David? Last I heard, their affair crumbled under the weight of their shame. Revenge isn't noble, but sometimes it's the spark that lights the way to a better you. And I found that spark.